From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I can't have a baby because I have a 12:30 lunch meeting. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hey, friend. I'm just with a pile of apples here, figuring out my next business venture.
Just working on some gourmet baby applesauce, baby sauce. Ew, I almost said baby sauce. Gross.
I didn't even catch that. That's how.
Nobody wants any of your baby sauce, Sonia. That's nasty. It's sauce you put on your baby. Applesauce. We are talking about 1987's Baby Boom, starring Diane Keaton, Sam Shepard, and Harold Ramis. And this movie is written by Charles Shire and Nancy Myers, who also wrote Father of the Bride, which we did the episode before this. And this is directed by Charles Shire, and this is one of your favorites. So maybe I should just let you go first. Why do you love this movie so much?
There's so much wish fulfillment going on with this movie. It's like Diane Keaton, I think she's never looked more beautiful. I think she looks glamorous. Like, she rocks a power suit.
She sure does.
And she's always, like, before that in bohemian clothes, or she's always sort of played kind of ditzy.
Mm-hmm.
And here she's playing someone so smart and so competent. And she lives with her boyfriend. I can't see.
It's Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I mean, she's had this great apartment. She works at an office where there's James Spader. She can wear shoes all day. She doesn't kick them off as soon as she comes home. Like, she's so together.
That's how tough she is, that she can wear heels all day.
All day. Then she gets the cutest baby that's ever existed, and then throws it all away, moves to Vermont, has Sam Shepard as a boyfriend, and on top of that, he's a veterinarian.
Right.
And she creates a successful business in like under a year. All this happens like in under a year. And if there's anything that's been wish fulfillment for me, it's this movie. Like, if I could have a life in a movie, it would be this one.
It's life porn.
It's such life porn. Oh my God. And I cannot say enough about the baby, because
she is so cute.
Those apple cheeks and the little curly hair. It's like, she's my movie baby. If I, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
I mean, like, Keanu is like my movie cat, and Nanook from Lost Boys is my movie dog. Mm-hmm. Like, this is my movie baby.
And she's so cute.
Oh,
well, they are so
twins.
They're twins, so they are so cute. This is one of those like 80s movies where it was like, I don't know how to take care of a baby movies. So we had like Mr. Mom and 3 Men and a Baby, and this one. This one's pretty high concept in that she inherits a baby from a cousin that she hasn't seen since the 50s or something like that. And you think going into this movie that it's going to be women just want babies. They just want to be mothers. You know, work's not important. But it's actually not that at all. And I hadn't watched this movie in a really long time. And at first I was like, oh, please don't be like the movie that's like women just want babies and to be mothers if only they had a chance. But instead, it's really about how shitty the system is that makes it difficult to be successful at work and to like have kids.
Absolutely. And then
single. And I think the power of the movie is about like creating your own path to make it work. And sadly, that is not an outdated concept.
She does everything she's supposed to do.
Right.
She gets a nanny. She stays till all hours. You see her there long after everyone else has gone home. You know, she doesn't talk about her personal life at all.
Right.
But they still put her on a shittier account because they're like, nope, you're a mother now. You're not useful to us.
Right.
And
your
so
attentions
awful.
Are divided. You can't compartmentalize, your family and work there, but dudes can do it apparently. Like the guy even said, like the boss says, like,
yeah,
well, what if you get married? You know, my wife takes care of everything. You know, and the idea that he doesn't even look at her like she's a woman or something, because I guess it's not womanly to like be good at your job and things like that. It's so shitty, but it's not, but it's still super, super relevant.
It hasn't changed really.
No.
In all these years. No. She's expected to like have this baby, then fine, but we never ever want to hear about it. And she tries really to do that. But I mean, she took on a huge responsibility, and there's like no empathy towards her at all. And it's a little, I mean, she's so work focused. Like I think about now, like, oh, she didn't have any women friends that could kind of pop in and help her out. Like she just was super, they call her the Tiger Lady, which is a very 80s sexist kind of tag to put on. But she was all business, and that's what she loved. And she likes working, which is also nice to see, because sort of like, oh, she has to pay the rent. This is somebody who's like, oh, I'm energized by what I do.
Yeah.
You know,
and she loves her job. It's not like she does it because she thinks she has to, or like if we're talking about that shitty The Secret of My Success, which also came out the same year. It's like, he just wants to be successful. He doesn't really care about the work. She actually cares about the work. She likes it.
And she likes the details.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's good at it. And so James Spader is a junior person to her. And he played a lot of smarmy guys in the movies.
Yes, he did.
This is back when he had hair. And he was gorgeous.
He's got a full head of like luscious hair.
You would never think of him as bald, or that he would go bald. Or you think he would be one of the ones that would get a rug, you know, he would never want to. And he just was like, all right, this is how I look now.
You know
Let's
what,
go.
though? As he got older, he got kookier and kookier.
Yes.
And I think it is kind of one of the things I like about James Spader is he is like, I don't give a fuck. And he just looks how he looks, and I'm fine with that.
I read somewhere once he said he's like very particular about parking. He says like when he's shopping at the mall, he's like, I either park the closest or under a tree. I'm like, me too.
James Spader, you fucking get it.
You get me.
I'm like, that's where I park too, because you want the shade for your car. I get it.
Yeah.
He's smart.
Totally.
Clearly a genius.
Right. But he's like the junior guy. And we said Harold Ramis was her boyfriend. And as soon as she gets this baby, and she's going, okay, if there's a criticism you can make, that there's just hardly anybody of color. It's a super white movie.
Sure.
I mean, the adoption agency lady is African American, and there's literally a picture of Whoopi Goldberg, and I think that's it.
Well, we put black people in the movie. That's done.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean,
yeah, super white.
I mean, in Vermont, sure, I get that, but in New York at the office, I think there was maybe one other person carrying a briefcase or something, but that was pretty much it. But anyway, she has a baby. She's going to give it up for adoption, and apparently it happens super fast because they had some. There's no
like
red
the
tape.
Next day, we got someone. Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the most beautiful baby. I think there'd be like a bidding war.
Right.
Like I said, this is like my movie baby. Like this is but they're very white trashy. They're mobile home, whatever you want to call it, poor.
Right.
And she doesn't want to put her through that. And she even says, I grew up in that kind of an environment. That's what she was escaping from. And I love the scene where she's at the Toys R Us and she buys everything. And her and Jesus are talking about it. He's like, you're going to be a partner for Christ's sakes. Come on.
There were so many things in the movie that I actually identify with as, I have a 7-year-old, and this will be a surprise to no one. I'm not very mommy-like. It didn't come super naturally to me. And so there's just these funny scenes of her trying to carry the baby, and she's holding her I don't know, a newspaper or something under her arm or something.
With her coat on the other hand. I'm like, you're going to drop the baby.
It's just these kind of things that you don't think about, but I understand the idea of you're not very mommy, or she tries to leave the baby with the coat check woman. Now I've never done that, but I understand. You're just here, watch my kid.
Well, the baby is passed around at first.
Yeah.
I mean, they just take her off the airplane and just give it to her, and and walks away.
Yeah, another thing too, the idea that you could just like walk up to a plane and like wait for people to like walk right out of the gate and hand you a baby. Here, sign here. Here's your baby.
There's no TSA, no nothing.
No,
I mean,
nothing.
It all happens. And so, yeah, so she's going to give her up for adoption. Then she decides not to.
Yeah.
And her and Hal Ramis, I love her clothes in this movie, by the way. But at the very top, she's always wearing like a button shirt, like people are buttoned to the very top button. And that always makes me uncomfortable. I always have to have like my neck a little exposed. She wears a shirt like that just to bed. It's like she's always buttoned up.
I guess that's how she's comfortable.
Yeah.
She's always wearing turtlenecks too.
Yeah, which I support.
Diane Keaton is always wearing turtlenecks, and
right.
I can't do that. I'm always pulling on them and stuff. But
yeah,
but it looks great on her. You know, that scene in the adoption agency, even though I know like where the movie's gonna go because I have seen it before, it made me all sweaty and nervous. Like, oh my God, like she's not gonna leave that baby with those people, is she? Like, and I know she's not going to, but it's a very effective scene because you really feel like her dread and her like building up to like, no, this isn't right. I need to keep Elizabeth. What's the baby's name? Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Right?
Elizabeth.
So cute.
I know. And then she takes her outside.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? Just don't expect too much from me. And then the little girl, like Elizabeth, just claps her little hands. She's like a perfect actress.
Yeah.
I mean, the babies are big.
So
Good
cute.
God.
And one of the other things I like about this movie is there are no wasted scenes. Like every scene tells a story, moves the story along. So like, you know, she meets Harold Ramis at the train after his work trip, and she's got the kid, and she's like, I'm keeping her. And he's like, I don't want kids. And it's like, next scene, his shit's moving out of the apartment.
Yeah,
like,
there's no huge scene. They don't have a huge breakup. You know, it's just like he's just out of the picture. And you're like, okay.
I think the movie trusts you to be smart enough to know, like, what happened after that.
Yeah.
And he's not a dick. Like, it's just not what he wants. And it's what she, you know, wants now but didn't want before. Like, he's not an asshole about it, although he's pretty stupid. He makes that kid the like fanciest pasta in the world. Like, scrapes all the cheese on it, like, here you go, a beautiful plate of spaghetti, and of course the kid's like throwing it at them, and I love when he says it would be easier to move out.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, he does. It was the whole thing was that they were both just about their careers and they weren't going to have children.
Right.
Like that was the deal that they had, and she was changing it. And then they handled it maturely, and so now she has the place to herself. Mm-hmm. And then she gets a nanny, and the nanny sequence is a little
right. I did love
dated.
The one where she asked the one because she interviews like 3 or 4 of them, and one is like, what brought you to New York? And then the one says, the Lord. She's all,
thank you.
Oh, well, thanks for stopping by. Okay, out you go.
and Finally, she settles on Victoria Jackson.
Before she went crazy.
Before she was on Saturday Night Live, I think, even. Yeah. And then she goes on a business trip, and then the business trip is interrupted. At some point, she's giving a presentation, and then she sings Itsy Bitsy Spider, which is a cute scene. But that's when they're starting to realize, like, this kid's really taking up some time from us or whatever. And
we need your undivided attention 24 hours a day.
Right. And then she also has Elizabeth out in the park, and that's where she meets other mothers. Mm-hmm. And when she realizes that even though Elizabeth's like, 15 months? I don't know how babies are.
I think they say she's like a year old, maybe a little over a year old or something.
A little over a year old, yeah. And they're like, well, is she in the pre-K? Is she in this? Is she in that? And so JC's like goes to this baby and me kind of thing in New York.
Is the thing. It's the
thing. And it is.
It is totally a thing. When I was pregnant, women in San Francisco were like, do you know where he's going to go to preschool? I'm like, seriously, I'm pregnant. Like, he's not even born yet. I have to worry about preschool. Well, you should get him on the list first. What? No, I'm not doing that. It's a thing.
Oh, it's a thing in New York, too.
Yeah.
And it's a total freaking nightmare, I hear, once they're teenagers, when you're trying to get them into a high school.
Right.
Well, like that takes months and months and months. I mean, it's like what people in the suburbs don't have to put up with as much.
Right. Because you just
Yeah.
go to the school that's closest to your house.
Yeah, you pay high taxes. That's why you have a big public school like that. I get it. But she's trying to like do the best that she can on the weekends and the evenings and stuff like that. But little shit James Spader has it out for her and wants her job. And she brings in a huge account, which we've talked about this before. It's very 80s.
Yeah.
Big accounts in companies.
I got to make the big deal and save the company and score the deal and the deal.
And she works for the same agency that later on, Mel Gibson, he works out for What Women Want.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the same agency. I think it's the same writers too.
I believe you are correct. I didn't put that together. That's funny.
Yeah.
That movie's on our list.
Oh, definitely. We're going to talk about that one day.
Yeah.
And I think I have an idea what you're going to say.
Yeah, I think you do know what I'm going to say.
Right. So it's J.C. Wyatt, by the way. That's Diane Keaton. She's always collecting pictures of advertisements for homes in the real estate section because she has this idea, I'm going to get a country home one day. And she gets basically demoted at her job. They take away her big account to give her something, like a pet account or something like that, just so she can more. And it goes to James Spader, and she's like, well, I can't walk out there and do that. It's too humiliating. And so she leaves. And she's like, fuck it, I'll sell my apartment, I'll move to Vermont, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do there. And she buys her house sight unseen, which is never a good idea.
Yeah, hopefully she did a little bit of research to find out if there was a pet cemetery buried on that property, or if maybe maybe a road with like a lot of like trucks driving by or something. But maybe she didn't. I don't know. I hope she did. It seemed like she did.
She did a little research, but not that much. And so she moves into the house with Elizabeth, and she's living this little country life. And I love this sequence. I love it when they go to Vermont. It always makes me happy, but because it's like exactly what I think it would be, like so beautiful, but filled with crazy people. Like It's like Newhart come to life.
Like Northern Exposure.
And Northern Exposure. Like it's a combination. Like and my friend lived like that for a few years. She worked for a bookstore in Vermont. Aww, and she said, oh yeah. She said, do you ever see the show Newhart? I'm like, yeah. She goes, it's just like that.
Oh, well then I would totally move.
Yeah, I would too. She says, like, after a while, you get really tired of everybody knowing who you are. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
I love that it's kind of two movies in one. It's this like workplace comedy at the beginning, and then it's a romantic comedy in the second half. Like when Sam Shepard shows up, it's a romantic comedy at that point, I think.
It is. It totally is. Well, at first, like, she's like figuring out how to spend her time.
Right.
And, and it's before the internet, you guys. Like, you're stuck there alone. And she makes applesauce for Elizabeth, and Elizabeth really likes it. So she makes just tons and tons and tons of it. And then she decides, gourmet baby food. They have the New York City couple that shows up at the Vermont store to buy everything. Right. And they're being assholes like, New Yorkers are.
Yeah.
I count myself amongst them. And and that's when it clicks in her head, like, holy shit, gourmet baby food. Yes, that's right. People will go for that. And this next sequence, it happens super fast, but she makes gourmet baby food, and Elizabeth is the symbol, the logo. And she starts a business, and she goes to the college. She looks the stuff, the grocer news, and she makes it happen. She's told no, and she just keeps at it. And then it becomes kind of a hit. And around this time, her house is falling apart.
Right. Everything that could go wrong. When the
house falls apart.
Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. Like the pipes, the roof, the well. She gets a flat tire. Like she can't catch a break.
I love it when she has the meltdown by the well.
Yes.
She goes, oh, we're out of water. Let's just go to the neighbors. We'll take a hose. And he's like, no, we got to go miles up here and do this. And she's just like, I don't care where the water comes from.
By the way, that's me. That is me.
That's me. Another $5,000. You're kidding me. Like, I would totally lose my mind.
Yeah.
I'm with her.
I don't want to know that stuff. I just want to turn on the faucet and have water come out.
And so she promptly faints, and then she wakes up in the waiting room, and she thinks it's Sam. Wow, Sam Shepard, R.I.P.
He is dreamy. I wrote in my notes,
dreamy
Sam Shepard.
He's so swoon-worthy.
He is.
And she thinks he's a doctor, so she starts talking about her sex life and all this stuff. And then this pig comes into the room, or a horse. Turns out he's the veterinarian. And once again, she has a freak out, like, oh my God.
Nobody freaks out better than Diane Keaton, by the way. She's so good at it.
She and Tom Hanks are great at it. Like, I buy it. They're both really good at it. So she leaves and she's all upset. And then it's a great scene where she's changing the tire of the car, and he happens to drive by, and then he plants a big wet kiss on her.
Yeah.
And we all go, woo!
Yeah, we all get all weak in the knees.
Oh my God. I mean, I find him so sexy in this movie.
He is so sexy in this movie. You find him sexy because you're a human being with a pulse, and he's sexy in this movie.
He's sexy as shit. And then they have a scene where they go to a fall dance. And this is why I would want to be in Vermont. Just like the leaves are changing, and this very quaint, and your plumber is also like the bassist or the sax player on stage. And that's she and Sam Shepard dance to Moonlight in Vermont.
Aww.
And he holds Elizabeth for a second, and it's just everything you want it to be. And then they wake up the next day, and it's in her home, and he stayed the night. And
dun, dun, dun.
And she's in her fantastic kitchen. Like, how much do you love that kitchen?
I love it. I love the whole house.
Me too.
I love it. Everybody at one point or another is like, I wish I could just buy a house in the middle of fucking nowhere and like cook and have animals and have some quiet. Everybody wants that. I think about it all the time. I'm always looking at like houses at like Petaluma and stuff. I'm like, maybe we'll move to Petaluma. Like, I do it all the time.
No, same here. You're just start over again, or just live a little quieter.
Yeah.
We all have like kind of a fantasy about that, and that's what she gets. But at the same time, she's running an amazing business, and it's this home delivery kind of thing. And that's when her old boss calls her and says, hey, can you come to the city today? We'd love to talk to you. And she realizes, like, holy shit, they want to buy me out, and I'm a hit. I've done it. And, Sam Shepard is like, are you sure? And she's like, well, I'm going to, check it out. See what they say. And they come back to her. And I love that her whole thing is that when she's nervous, she knocks her knees.
I wrote that. I wrote that in my notes too, because I'm actually super guilty. Like, I do that. Like, I'm guilty of that. Like,
I'm super fidgety.
Yeah, I get fidgety. It's a tell. I would be a terrible poker player.
Yeah.
They would all know. I'd be like jumping up and down in my seat. So they offer her like this amazing deal.
It's pretty spectacular. I mean, it's $350,000, and then bonuses up to 150% of your salary. It's like $1 million a year. They buy her an apartment, 6 weeks vacation, which is bullshit. They won't let her.
Right.
Yeah. They'll hound her the whole time. And use of the company jet, which that for me would be enough. I would do it just for that.
You're all deal.
Yes. So she goes and James Spader is there, and all their old bosses and all these guys that like fired her.
Right.
And they have to kind of grovel to her because she did figure it out. Awesome. It's very, very sweet. And for a second there, you think, oh, she's going to take it, and then this movie's going to be something else. And she thinks about it, and she comes back and she says, no. And I'm not that person anymore. If you can do it, I can do it. And I'm going to do it my way. Mm-hmm. And she goes home, and they can't talk her out of it. And she goes home, and she goes to Sam Shepard's office, and there's a golden retriever in
so cute.
Waiting room. That's so cute. And she goes in, she gives him a big kiss and says, nah, the deal wasn't so great. And so she's going to hang out for a while.
Right.
And that's the movie.
Yeah. And then she gets home, and Elizabeth calls her mama. It's so cute.
And they sit by the window.
Yeah. I love it.
It's so
and
precious.
She says, like, I don't want to make those sacrifices. No one should have to.
Right.
And I think that's the point. That's like the whole point of the movie is she carves her own path to have it all. The idea of you can't have it all. You can't have family and be successful. And she's doing it. At the
Right.
end, she's like, I'm successful. This business is doing really well, enough that these jokers want to buy it. And I don't have to sell it because she likes working. Like a
Right.
COO, she probably wouldn't even do that much, to be honest. They're kind
Right.
of figureheads, right? I don't know. I don't know shit about business. What do I learned it all from 80s movies.
I heard like the CEOs really don't do very much.
Right.
Like they have a lot of stupid time on their hands.
But I think she likes like getting into it and getting her hands dirty a little bit.
No,
And
she likes the details.
yeah. So
Yeah.
this is like she did it. She has it all. Even Sam Shepard.
Yes.
Damn. She's so lucky.
I mean, that's it. That's all that wish fulfillment. Like I said, like it's just the life I would totally love to have.
Right. Do you
And
think JC and Jeff are still together?
Oh, absolutely.
I think so too.
Oh, they totally stick together. And she stays there, by the way.
Yeah.
Like she eventually sells the company. Like I think he has like a heart issue or something and he has to work less.
So you've made up a whole.
I never do this, but I totally have with them.
Okay, good. Tell me. I want to hear it. What's the sequel?
So he's a little older. He can't work as much. So she sells the business, but it's just them having an understanding because Elizabeth's gone off to college and now it's just them. And it's, not a lot happen. I mean, I guess hijinks ensue with like local yokels.
It turns into Newhart. The end.
Yes, the end. But they're together. That's my whole point. They're very much together. And he's a great stepdad to Elizabeth.
Of course he is.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
Sam Shepard. He's Sam fucking Shepard.
Motherfucking Shepard.
I don't know if that was ever a thing, but they should have been calling him that. Sam fucking Shepard.
Yep.
This was a really fun rewatch for me.
It's super enjoyable.
So good pick, Margo. I hadn't watched it in so long. It'd been a really, really long time since I've seen this movie. And like I said at the beginning, I was worried that it was going to be, well, work's not that important and I just want to have babies. By the way, I don't think work is important, but that's fine. And I don't want to just have babies either.
No, but I understand like having a passion for something.
Yeah.
And being good at it.
Yeah. There's room in the world for all of us. Some of us want to be successful at work and have kids. Some of us just want to have kids and don't give a shit about work. And some of us don't give a shit about work and just happen to have kids. That's me.
Yeah. And some people like the city and some people like the country.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. Whatever you're into, it's fine. And she's living a more authentic life.
Yeah.
And she's getting more time for herself. And I think it's just, like I said, I just wish that you would think a movie that's 32 years old, which I think it is,
right,
that things would change so
Right.
much.
The fashion of this movie is the only thing that's different.
And there's no internet. I mean, but that doesn't even matter. Yeah. But like all the dumb meetings and the dumb sexist tropes you have to put up with, like just having to suck up to mediocre people because you're the only woman and because you're a woman, you're smart and successful. People call you Dragon Lady. Just for being competent. Seriously.
Right. And then she has to like embrace it. That's right. I'm the Tiger Lady. It's like, oh, poor JC. You don't have to do that. Tell them to fuck off.
You know what's funny is that there's nobody ever explains what her name is. It's just J and C. So it's like, is she Jesus Christ?
Jesus Christ, Wyatt. That's what I'm going to start calling her. This movie is so weird at the beginning though, because it has this voiceover narration.
Linda Ellerbee.
And then but we never hear it again.
No, it's just the way to introduce her. And it is funny because they're like, the working woman. Now the workplace has women in it. And I'm like,
get ready, guys. Hold on to your hats. Women are working.
I watched this movie once with my mother and two things made her laugh and roll her eyes. Like that scene, she's like, yeah, I was working in the 70s. It's like not that big of a deal. But also when James Spader, when she has the guy, when her boss asks for a report, and JC says, oh, yeah, I'll give it to you tomorrow. I've been working on it. And James Spader goes, oh, well, you know what? I worked on it last night. Here it is. My mother, like, rages, fuck that guy. Like,
seriously. He's
he's
doing exactly what you think he's doing.
Right.
Yeah, he is the worst. James Spader is so good at playing a fucking creep.
He is. I think
He's
that's
so
his best.
good at it. I don't know why. Something in the eyes. He's really good at playing a creep.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone did it better in the 80s, but he was really good at it. When did Pretty in Pink come out? Like the year before this or the same year? I feel like it might be the
I think
same
it was the
year.
year. I think it was 86.
It's so weird that, like, sure, he's a high school senior. Let's just say he's a high school senior. And then, like, the following year, he's not. He's playing, like, clearly a grown man. It's so weird. I'm going to look up Pretty in Pink right now because I think it might be the same year. Let's see.
I think it's 86, but he was also
You're right,
in Wall
it's 86.
Street.
Oh, yeah,
And he was also in Wall Street. Yeah, and he wasn't well, maybe he was a dick there. I don't know. He only had a couple of little scenes, but yeah, all of a sudden he was a man.
Yeah, I haven't seen Wall Street in a long time. Maybe we need to put that on the list.
I totally think we need to put that on the list. I would love to talk about that. I've seen that movie like 100 times.
I have not.
Wow.
But I have seen it, just not 100 times.
Yeah,
but I have a
know,
feeling there's something to talk about there.
Oh, there's a lot. There's so much. And yeah, I just like this movie. Like Baby Boom is just so incredibly watchable for me.
Is.
I just, like you said, there's no wasted scene in there. Everything is there for a reason. And everybody's a good actor.
Yeah.
And the scenes in New York look great. The scenes in Vermont look beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love it when she's rowing and then she loses the paddles.
She's like, I'm not as in good shape as I thought I was. And that's one of the other things, the idea like of buying, like leaving the city and buying a house in the country. And it's just not as easy as you think it's going to be. We all have, like I said, we all have the fantasy of buying the house in the country and living the quote unquote simple life. But it's actually much harder in practice because one, if you've been living in the city, you're just kind of wired for it. And then like rewiring yourself for a small town is difficult.
Oh, yeah. Well, and if things break, you've got one guy that can do it,
Right.
you know? And you're lucky if he's available. Like her roof falls in at one point. Like she has like major problems in this home. And there's only like one guy that does all the work. Yeah.
Yeah. And for anyone who hasn't seen it or listened to us talk about it and wants to watch it, it's streaming right now on Amazon Prime. So if you already pay for Prime, it's free. You can just watch it. It's weird to say it's free because you pay for Prime, but like if you pay for Prime, it's free, sort of.
It feels free though. When I see it's on Amazon Prime, I get super excited. I'm like
super excited. I'm like,
I don't have to pay the
$2.99.
$2.99.
Exactly. Also, by the way, none of my streaming services are hooked up to my card. They're actually all hooked up to David's card, my husband's card. So then he's like, I see somebody's watching, whatever, Father of the Bride. I'm like, sorry, David. He doesn't care. He doesn't care, FYI. Do you want to hear about the top 10 movies of 1987?
I certainly do.
Okay. So, number 10 is Predator.
Right.
Number 9, Witches of Eastwick. I think
very stinky.
I think we should put that on the list. Number 8, Lethal Weapon. Number 7, Stakeout.
Oh, I love Stakeout.
Stakeout. I remember really liking Stakeout, but I don't know if I've seen it since maybe one more time on HBO.
Yeah.
Oh, number 6, The Secret of My Success. Please go back and listen to our episode on that one. We have a lot of thoughts and feelings about that one. Number 5, 3 Men and a Baby. One of those, taking care of babies is hard movies. It's super cute. And made a whole bunch of women my mom's age fall in love with Tom Selleck. Number 4, The Untouchables. I love The Untouchables.
That's the best movie.
It's so good. Number 3, Fatal Attraction.
Oh, boy.
That's on the list. Number 2 is Platoon. Mm-hmm. Hilarious. I love Platoon.
I quote Platoon all the time.
All the time. Me and all my friends, we get together and we have a few beers and we watch Platoon. It's awesome. And then number 1 is Beverly Hills Cop 2.
My parents loved that movie. Like, honest to God, not more than the first one. My mom and dad loved the second one. They act like bought a copy on VHS or something.
I can't even fathom that because I think the first one's really, really funny, and
Yeah.
I do believe though 16-year-old Sonia thought Beverly Hills Cop 2 was really good, but I'm pretty sure if I rewatched it now, I'd be like, no, this is terrible. It made over $150 million. That's a lot of money.
Wow.
That's a lot of money for that time. Do you remember movies used to open and like if they made like 10 million, you were like, what a fucking hit. That movie's a huge hit. It made $10 million.
You know what though? There was a time we didn't know how much movies made.
Yeah, that too.
That
Thanks,
became
Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah, Entertainment Tonight. I swear to God, like that changed everything. And then now if something's like number 3, like we'll even say like, oh, it only came in 3rd at the box office.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it still does. It doesn't mean it's good or bad, the movie.
Yeah, but people talk, what a bomb.
Yes.
What a bomb. It only made $70 million its opening weekend. What a shitty movie. What a piece of garbage.
Do you want to hear about the top songs of 1987?
I sure do.
All right, there's a sprinkling of them. Is This Love by Whitesnake?
I love that song so much.
Me too. This is so crazy.
I just love that song. The video is ridiculous, but I love the song.
It's a good song. It's a good love song.
It is.
I Think We're Alone Now, Tiffany.
I love that song too.
Yep. I've Had the Time of My Life, Bill Medley. Oh, God.
You haven't seen Dirty Dancing. We need to put that on the list.
We definitely do. With or Without You, U2.
Yeah. I mean, that's a solid song.
I Want to Dance with Somebody, Whitney Houston.
I still love that song too. Oh, Whitney.
And I Want Your Sex by George Michael. I remember this song.
I like that song. And
Me too.
With a video with a woman, he's trying to convince us that he's into chicks. I get it.
And then the last one here. I love the song Head to Toe by Lisa and Cult Jam.
Oh my God, I love Lisa and Cult Jam.
Oh, they're the best.
They're so good. They had that one and Lost in Emotion. They had big hits that year.
She was awesome.
Super awesome. I loved her. And I love all of those songs, actually. I am 100% convinced I have all of those on a playlist somewhere.
It's a nice sprinkling of different kinds of music. I think also, It's a Sin by Pet Shop Boys.
That's a good one,
remember that song? That's a good one, too. Yeah.
Gosh, I'm old.
we are old.
What else are you dorking out about?
Well, I think I told you about this off the air, but I'm really into Hulu lately. I didn't realize how much original content they have. And it's a series, limited series, and it's called The Act.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this off air. That's right.
Off air. And it's Jodie Kim, I believe her name is, and Patricia Arquette. And Patricia Arquette, it's based on a real life story of a mother who had Munchausen's syndrome and put her daughter through hell, basically, but convinced her daughter that she had all these diseases and problems with her. She put a feeding tube into her.
Jesus.
She starved the kid, basically, so that she was really small. And the daughter, her mother lied to her about her age. Her mother would go to people and to different charities, and Habitat for Humanity built them a home, and Make-A-Wish Foundation gave her a wish, and she was called Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And so Gypsy one day finds out that not 15, but she was actually 19 years old, and starts getting a cell phone and starts dating, online dating and stuff like that. Turns out she can walk. They always had her in a wheelchair and everything, but her mother would drug her when they would bring people over. It's crazy. And Patricia Arquette the whole cast is just incredible. Chloe, what's the last name? Oh shit, I'm so sorry. But it's just a really good group of people and great directors. And it really gets that, well, it's filmed in Atlanta, but it's that Midwestern kind of thought down and that feeling. And basically Gypsy Rose just decides with one of her boyfriends that to kill her mother.
Right.
And kills her mother and basically says, this woman tried to kill me for years and I was just fighting back. And she's in jail, I think for 10 years. She's like in the middle of that. And her boyfriend got life. And
interesting.
She's actually, I think, trying to sue because it's somebody basically saying this is your life story and they're profiting from it. But I don't know if you can profit from your own crimes. I don't know. It's a little confusing.
Correct.
Yeah. But it's based on a true story. And Patricia Arquette, like, she speaks with this Louisiana accent because that's what the woman had. And I mean, there's no vanity with her. Like, she's just so incredible in the part. And it's not an easy watch.
No.
It's 8-hour-long episodes. And I had to break it up because sometimes I'm like, this is just filling me with despair. I mean, there's a scene where I'll tell you this. Gypsy never goes to the dentist, and one day she has like a really bad tooth pain, and her mother takes her to this really cheap dentist that offered to do it for free, and they just knocked all of her teeth out.
Jesus Christ!
And then she had to wait to get
Jesus
dentures.
Christ, Wyatt!
So I was like, this is me. Like, I had an argument with a friend of mine who was like, well, she wasn't in danger at the very moment that she killed her mother, so she can't say that it was self-defense. And I'm like, you know what? That mother tried to kill her for 10, 15 years of this girl's life. You had it coming, basically.
That is crazy.
That's how I look at it.
It's such a crazy story. First of all, I want to say Patricia Arquette is the shit. She is.
She's
like,
so the shit.
She deserves everything she wins. She's awesome in everything she does. Second, Hulu, please stop recommending The Act to me. I am never going to watch it. Hulu is plugging this movie so hard for me. Like, every time I sign in, it's like, would you like to watch The Act? And it's a picture of Patricia Arquette and this bald child. And I'm like, you're fucking bumming me out every time I log into Hulu. I'm never going to watch it. And this is the conversation we had off air about, I wish that they had a hide function on things like Netflix and Hulu, because while I can respect that everyone's really good in The Act and it's an important story to tell, and I'm glad that they're telling it, I personally am not going to sit through it. I can't sit through it. It's going to be too hard. I can't do it. And I wish I could hide it so I didn't have to see it.
You know what? I'm like that with The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
All my other friends.
I bailed on The Handmaid's Tale after the first season.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do that. I'm only going to do this one season. I don't think there's any more. But let me just get it right. It's Joey King plays Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and it's Chloe Sevigny.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She's awesome. And she's like a neighbor across the street that catches on to her bullshit away.
And she's one of those actresses, too, that's always super awesome. Like, whenever every time she shows up in credits, you're like, sweet.
Yes.
You know, she's
I totally agree.
Yeah, Netflix keeps I told you this. Netflix keeps recommending like documentaries to me all the time because I love that shit. And it keeps recommending one about Trump to me. And I was like, please stop recommending this to me. I don't even want to look at his stupid fucking gross face. Like, please stop showing it to me.
I get all the murder stuff.
Yeah,
Netflix.
I get that too, but I'll watch political ones, and they think that maybe I want to watch this, and I was like, I will never watch that. If I watch that, that's like an Invasion of the Body Snatcher situation, and I am not me.
I will know the signal if I notice that. Yes.
If I'm like, you know who's great? Trump. You will know that I am not me.
I will slowly back away from you and take off because I know it's not you.
Seriously, he's
a replica.
He's a garbage bag filled with dirty diapers and rotten eggs. He's disgusting. I will never, never, never watch anything with him in it willingly. I can't even watch him give a speech. He's fucking gross. Anyway, that's a side rant. Sorry.
Yeah, that's sorry.
I'll save that for What a Creep. I am watching on Netflix Street Food. Have you been watching Street Food at all?
No.
Yeah, okay.
No.
I like to watch documentaries about food and cooking. And there's one right now. It's the people who did Chef's Table did this one called Street Food, and they're interviewing like different street vendors in different countries. So there's like an episode about street vendors in India. There's one in Japan. I think they're going to do Mexico. and I just think it's really interesting because it's about like people who are so passionate about food, but they don't necessarily have restaurants, but they're really good at what they do, and they have like a following. These aren't like struggling food stands. They're like successful food stands, like that they're doing super awesome because they're really unique and different. And the photography's super beautiful. The stories are always super interesting. Especially the one in India that we just watched, because so in Delhi, apparently a lot of people there don't have kitchens. So street food is like the thing. That's where you eat. And I think that's really interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, and I like to watch stuff about food. I think it's a really good way to like tune out the rest of the world. We can all agree that food is delicious.
It's a uniter, not a divider.
It is, exactly.
Yeah.
So I love stuff like that. So I'm watching Street Food, and I also watched the first episode of Tuca and Birdie, which is the animated show created by one of the people from BoJack Horseman.
Oh.
With Tiffany Haddish and Ali Wong as the voices. And I thought it was super funny.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
It's I've only seen the first episode, and the first episode's like a little manic, like it's a little like, whoa, what are we doing here? It's a little all over the place, but it did make me laugh out loud more than a few times, and I was like, yeah, I will totally watch this. So we are watching it. It's good.
I'm adding it.
Yeah, I think you should. You like Tiffany Haddish and Ali Wong, and do you watch BoJack Horseman? I forget.
I do, and I think it's a very funny show, but it's also very poignant, and it really gets depression.
Yeah,
like the way they describe depression there is like one of the most beautiful, sad and beautiful and accurate I've ever seen. And it's like people would think it's just a dumb cartoon. It's not. It's super
totally
smart.
Not. And some people are just like, animation's for kids, and I'm like, well, that's a stupid thing to say, and not true.
Yeah.
BoJack is super great. I love BoJack. We're still only in the 4th season, so we still have some more to go. But Tuca and Birdie is a little bit more, at least the episode I saw, a little bit more lighthearted. It's not as deep. It's pretty ridiculous. I love it.
I'm gonna check it out.
And where can people find you on the internet?
The best places to find me on social media, it's Twitter and Instagram, and you just look up Brooklyn Fit Chick, and my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And you could find me at The Sonia Show on Twitter and thesoniashow.com, and you can find Dorking Out at dorkingout.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Facebook. I'm so glad that we got to talk about Baby Boom. It was such a good pick, Margo.
I'm going to look for a suit with some big shoulder pads.
I'm going to go make some baby sauce. Jesus Christ, Wyatt.